All right. So happy New Year's Eve, everyone. So, new episode 75, I think. So if you follow me, you know that I've been doing quite a lot of reviewing and looking back over the year, which is a practice that I think everybody needs to be doing. And it can be done on a weekly basis, a 90-day basis, and then obviously yearly, which is how I break things down and do it. And it's a practice of reviewing that allows us to make changes going forwards, to realign with where we're going and maybe even change direction altogether, which is something many people have had to do this year. I've had to do it at least 4 times this year. And it's all to the same end, just having to change when things aren't working. Instead of stubbornly carrying on with something, we just change the direction, we flip it, but it's all to the same end. It's all pursuing the same ultimate vision. But the biggest difference this year is in how I'm preparing for next year. So you know me by now, you know that I'm a bit type A, I'm a bit OCD, and I like to have a very clear plan with all kinds of variables. So that if this happens, I know that this could happen, or this, and this is what I will do. But all of that is very much thought-based. And as I've started to change, particularly in the last, 4 or 5 months, I've been doing a lot of work on getting out of the head and going with feelings rather than thoughts. Because your feelings don't lie. They are an accurate representation of what is going on in your world at the moment. They reflect what you are experiencing in the world. And your thoughts just try to make sense of that. Okay, so my planning for 2021 has been a lot more heart-driven rather than being very much head-driven. Of course, there is one clear vision behind everything, but the means of getting there don't matter as much to me now. I don't need to have all these different variables and all these things in place, because I know that things are going to happen and things will need to change. And I think this year is evidence of that. But if I go with what feels right, then I know I'm doing the right thing. And of course, this all hinges heavily on being in a really good place emotionally and mentally, and having a deep understanding of yourself, and being able to trust yourself. And there's no way I could have done that and made plans like this, based on feelings 5 or 6 years ago. But now this works. Instead of having a rigid structure and a plan born out of logic and reasoning, I have a loose structure, something that supports the overriding vision. And there are many different paths all tying things together. But if we get too wrapped up in that and we stick to one path too tightly, then eventually we're going to struggle. We're going to stop ourselves from getting there. We need to be flexible in our approach to getting what we want. I think this is probably the first year where all of my goals have been based around doing things that make me feel good and things that I actually want to do, because they contribute to bringing my vision of the future to life, and bringing it into the present, rather than doing stuff because I think I need another qualification, or because I think it's going to make people respect me more, or because I think I should be doing this or that or whatever. Everything I plan to do this year is because it has 2 ends. 1, making me happy. 2, bringing my vision closer. And that's it. No more doing things for the sake of doing it, or because I think it's what I should be doing, or it's because it's what someone else says I should be doing. It's what I want to be doing. And we're all at different places. What works for me may not be right for you in this very moment. But the point here is, if we all got out of our heads a little bit more and we listen to our hearts more often, we'd all be happier and we'd achieve more too. Because when you are happier and you are in a better place and you are following what's in your heart rather than listening to what's going on in your head, you do more and you do things better. So when you sit down to set your goals this year, consider what you write down. How is it contributing to the bigger picture? Does it even contribute at all? Or are you just stoking your ego and doing something for the sake of doing it? Is it self-validation, or is it you really living? And if it's not something you enjoy or something that brings you closer to your vision, then do you really need to do it? So every time you write down your goals, ask yourself why you want that thing. And if the answer is because I want to, then go with it. But if you have to justify it, then it's probably not all that important. Now, obviously, some things need to be quantifiable, you know, so you can measure progress, particularly within business and things like that. But the mechanism is still the same. The driver is still the same. Heart first, because better actions come from better feelings, and everything always comes back to feelings. I've said it a million times, feelings first. Feelings first. So when you sit down and you're planning next year out, consider, what do you want? Why do you want that? And then, will it make you happy, or will it bring the vision closer? And sometimes what makes you happy won't necessarily bring the vision closer, you know, but it's about balance. And the more you work on yourself and the better you get, the easier it is to hold that balance. Okay. So there we go. If you've not planned out your year next year, do it. But try bearing these things in mind before you get all up in your head and go for logic and reason. Think about what's going to make you feel good, what's going to make you live a better life. Because ultimately, that's why we're here. We're here to live a better life, not to do things for the sake of doing it. If anyone is struggling with their emotions, particularly given the whole lockdown situation again, just drop in the comments and I'll give you the link to the Prosperity Pack, because that is the toolkit for thinking and feeling better. So if you know you're going to need that, let me know and I'll sort you out the link with that. 7-day challenge is going to be back in a few weeks' time, so keep your eyes open for news about that and you can join us. But that's everything for today. Happy New Year to all of you, and I will see you in 2021.